What the fuck is up, everybody? Today's movie, Idle Hands, a little movie that I grew up watching, one that comes from 1999 of all places. Kind of like towards the end of like literally the end of the 90s into the early 2000s. It's a really weird phase, this is a really weird movie, so this is perfect. That's why this is just why I chose it. So, what is Idle Hands? I'll be the first to tell you, not a good flick. I admit it's not a good movie, but it's one that I hold dearly, and personally, I really, really like this movie. It does have pretty much an assembled cast of people that are big names now. You know, like you got Devin Soya or Sawa, however you say his name. I mean, fuck that guy anyway. If you don't know about my history with that motherfucker. Anyway, it's got him. He plays our main character, Anton, and it's also got Jessica Alba. I've always had a mad crush on her. Moving on. What is this movie about exactly anyway? So, Idle Hands basically it follows a lazy teenager, a lazy teenager. I was one of them. Follows him and how his hand becomes possessed and how he must deal with that battle. Yes, you heard me right. That's exactly what this movie is about. It's about a boy battling to death the possession in his right hand, and it is winning. Now, this is a fucking weird movie, man. This is a bizarre movie, but that's why I chose it. And it's something that I think that one of the main reasons I chose this movie is because it is a movie that is a prime example of movies that don't exist anymore. Yes, we do have weird films with like weird storylines, but that's now commonplace with Gen Z and with just the audiences now, that's commonplace. Movies like this don't exist in today's world for lots of reasons. This is one of them. But it's a weird film, you know. It's basically just like a not even a buddy comedy. It's more of a stoner comedy, really. And that's like kind of my introduction to this. That's another reason I picked it. I was like, you know, what movie do I want to watch today? And I put that on. It got me thinking, you know, nostalgia. I saw this movie not in theaters. This one I actually saw probably after it came out, like about a year or two after it came out. Yeah, because it came out in 99. I watched it in about maybe 2001. It probably was like 2002. That's probably when I really saw it because I was in elementary school and I saw this fucking movie. Yeah, I had amazing parents when it came to what I could watch. Just kidding. Love you, mom and dad. But I was a kid when I saw it, and even then I was like, this is a weird movie, but it was a movie for its time, and that's my time. I love the 90s. I love the early 2000s. So let's dive into it. You know, let's talk about everything this movie has to offer from that time frame, going right into the positives. So, well, before we go into the positives, I'm trying to make these a little bit more professional. So I have a segment, or not a segment, I'm sorry. We have a section that we call mentions. These are not honorable. They're just mentions for the film that you should know about. I've already mentioned the A. It's not a good film. And here comes B. It's made off of a budget of 25 million, right? Well, globally, it's like total income was like 4.2 million. And it was destroyed at the box office. Not necessarily a fan favorite until now. Over the years, it has basically gained a following. You know, it's kind of like it's cult status now. But yeah, you got Devin Sawa, however the fuck you say that asshole's name. Jessica Alba's in it. It's got the homie that plays Foggy from Daredevil. No, I'm just kidding. His name's Eldon Henson. I believe that's his name. Yeah. And Vivica A. Fox. Vivica, I can never say her name. The chick from Booty Call. Another 90s film. But yeah, it's got an assembled cast of people that you know now. Those are the only things worth mentioning about this film. The other mentions to me are going to be in the positives, really, because, like I said, this is a weird one to do a review on. It's a movie that it really isn't that good, but it's good to me. So I am being biased. I am telling you to watch a movie that I enjoy personally because of nostalgia factor, because of various different things. And if anything, if my review isn't good enough for you to watch it, let me tell you this. If you're looking for something that doesn't really have any sort of lecturing in it, and realistically, you're just looking at something that isn't quite 2 fucking hours and a half, this would be your movie. It's a very short, pretty straightforward film. Very, you know, meat and potatoes. It's simple. But yeah, all my positives are pretty much going to be the mentions. Because like I said, it's not great. But just bear with me. You'll understand why at the end of this. So there's a lot of comedy in this, man. A lot of buddy comedy, a lot of stoner comedy. I mean, there's a lot of teenage comedy. Like I said, if you're someone that was born in this time frame, this movie definitely hits home for you. It's something that you can remember doing yourself. I mean, the main character, Anton, he has a little weed stash inhaler that he wears around his neck with a little fucking drawstring. Or it's like yarn or whatever, but he takes the inhaler top out, and this is the old school days when the inhaler tops were the big like they look like cylinders, I guess, and you would push down. Not like the ones you have now, where it's basically just a small one that goes inside the case and you push it against the case. This one literally was like a pod. Well, anyway, he takes the top out and he's got his little weed in there that he would stuff, and then basically like that. And that's fucking hilarious because as a pothead with asthma, I pretty much did the same thing before I even saw this movie. Oh wait, no, that's not correct. I saw this movie before I was a pothead, so I got it from this movie. But yeah, I see things like that, and that's why it's kind of relatable. And if that's not enough, dude, the music videos, holy shit. But there's lots of that, man, and there's lots of slapstick too. So when I bring up comedy, I'm talking about the slapstick part to it. The aspect of that is a good example, really, Evil Dead, the first one to be exact. The first one, well, maybe the second one really too. I mean, they're both pretty slapstickish. So like, slapstick is essentially just like it's like it can be used in any sort of film, but in this case it's horror comedy. So slapstick is just like really silly shit. I mean, I try hard not to spoil these films too much, but here's one scene from the film that will give you a good example of that. I mean, realistically, and I hope I don't get in trouble saying this on YouTube, but there is a scene where they show you the best way to reattach somebody's head so they can eat a proper burrito. So there you go right there. That's slapstick. There's a scene where somebody's hand gets cut off. Shit goes missing. Hand's doing its own thing. Like I said, the hand's possessed. This whole movie altogether is a fucking slapstick comedy. So it's a product of its time. But there's lots of early day actors in there. Like I said, you got Alba. There's two cops in this film too. Well, actors that play the cops that I promise, will recognize. There are also background characters that you'll notice that are kind of good, like pop culture references. One of them being Blink-182 gets mentioned quite a bit in this film. Their pictures, if I'm not mistaken, are used. It's Mark and Tom. It's their pictures for like these set of twins that get murdered by the possessed hand. So a little background for you guys on this before we jump further into the positives. There is a side story to this. Basically, there's like this hand it's part of like an entity that's made its way across America. And that's how one of the characters figures it out and like knows like, oh shit, this is basically a pentagram. Like this thing is going to take on the world and I got to stop this hand. It is that crazy. Like for as dumb as this movie is, they do go all out like that, but that's why I appreciate it. I think it's a movie that is good at being bad, if that makes sense. A lot of fucking skater punk references, man. Like I said, this goes right back into the music, man. The music to this album is, god damn it, my words are getting mixed up. You know what I'm saying. The music to this movie, come on now. So I will say this: Sublime, The Offspring, Rob Zombie, Static X. Like, come on, dude. That enough. Like, the songs on there, some of them I wouldn't have picked those specific songs, but there's a good chunk of this album that is just fucking phenomenal. There's actually songs on there, too, that are kind of hard to find right now. Like, if I'm not mistaken, The Offspring, one of my favorite bands, they make an appearance in the film as a band and, the high school dance that we all decide to go to, even though somebody's hand is missing and possessed. Anyway, The Offspring shows up and they sing a cover for I Want to Be Sedated. That is on that album, but you won't find that on any Offspring album as far as I know. And like I said, it's really hard to find. This album is hard to find, actually. I couldn't find it on Apple or Spotify or anything like that. So if you do have a copy of the Idle Hands motion picture music, fucking kudos to you. That's awesome. The story is ridiculous, but it's a feel-good story. Like I said, buddy comedy, stoner comedy. Fucking Alba's hot in this, bro. Early day Alba. Anyway, look, she's got the sexy, like, skater punk, borderline goth look. No, I wouldn't even say goth, to be honest with you. There's variations of goth, but she's definitely got, like, that skater punk. That's like, you look at her in this movie and you're like, that's how a chick would look in the late 90s. The chemistry between the characters of, god damn it, I forgot his name, Seth Green. He's another actor in this film that's huge. Probably the biggest one, well, besides Jessica Alba. His character and Eldon's character, their chemistry on screen is fucking fantastic. It's probably the saving grace because at the end of the day, the acting in this movie is not good, right? The story, like I said, it's ridiculous, but hey, it's enjoyable. But it's the chemistry between these two characters that absolutely saves it. They're great friends. They're Anton's friends, our main character. Sort of. They're more of like the bad influence mentors. Like they're constantly trying to tell him what to do to save him some fucking disparity, but basically he constantly ignores them and just kind of walks further into a hole. But they also put him in holes too. They're not good friends. Like that's something I really like that this movie does, is it displays the fact that they're not really good friends to each other, but they kind of are. They got each other's back at the end of the day. And that's something that I do feel is kind of lacking in films these days. It's not the same. The chemistry of like a friendship in films these days just doesn't really register like it used to back in the day. Now, granted, like I said, with the acting being terrible, it is very over the top. So that could be why it feels that way. But I would say that the chemistry between Seth Green and Eldon Henson, it is very authentic in that way. So we do get a lot of scenes where there are, well, not a lot, like 2 or 3. I'm being dramatic. We have a few scenes of long, lost, and forgotten music videos, man. There's one in particular that I do remember. It's Rob Zombie's Dragula playing in the background when Anton's trying to use both hands to try to take over the hand that has complete control, to teach him how to crochet, to teach him how to stay busy or whatever, so on and so forth. Buddies busted the door. They ask him, Anton, what is going on here, man? And he's basically trying to explain to them, like, look, idle hands is the devil's playground, as the saying goes. Ironic, right? What a weird way to shoehorn in the title. And so he's trying to keep his hand busy. And when that happens, you clearly see Dragula playing in the background from Rob Zombie. As far as I know, you can go YouTube it now, but there was a long period of time where you couldn't find it anywhere. But if you're someone that grew up like I did, then you'll see that and it's just like, God damn, I miss those days. I miss music videos, man. This movie very much is like it feels like a collaboration with rock and roll in a sense. Like this is a very MTV-ish movie without the MTV. At least for those times. Oh yeah, we have a lot of aesthetics in here too, because I keep bringing up the 90s and the early 2000s. We might as well talk about it. This is a film where, like, even when Anton goes into Seth Green and Eldon Henson's character's basement, you clearly see like the punk skater stickers all over the dresser and TV, the posters of the bands all over the walls. That is one of my favorite things too. And like I said, man, the soundtrack throughout this is great. There is one song that feels like it shouldn't be on this soundtrack, but I gotta give mad respect to the director for choosing that. But it is Shout of the Devil, Motley Crue. Obviously a kind of like a haha, this movie's about possessions and devils. What better than this song, right? That's an 80s song. That's way before this movie's time. But it, like I said, it kind of goes hand in hand with what it is that we're trying to display. So I appreciate that. And as you can see, big Motley Crue fan. So that's cool to see. I will say before we dive into the negatives, because there's not very many, just because, like I said, you can take it or leave it with this film. You may like it, you might not. I love it. There's a lot to offer. Not just the bloody gore, the slapstick violence, the fucking pot humor. There is some like ha 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 humor with parents versus child. That's something I really love. That's something that you don't really see a lot of today as well. I feel like we're not getting a lot of family movies. Anyway, no, there are like scenes where we get, I want to say it's the opening. It's Anton's parents, and like the mom is clearly like, "That's my baby, that's my scooter," and the dad's like, "Dude, your kid is a fucking lowlife. I know exactly what he's doing. He sucks." And that's kind of relatable to a lot of people, right? You know, like it's funny. I mean, I gotta say, one of my favorite scenes in this movie is literally after, and all right, heading into spoiler territory, when Devin's character Anton kills his buddies, he buries them in the backyard, in which they come out, and that's when he finds out, like, oh fuck, you guys didn't go to hell. And they're like, what, you think we would go to hell, you fucking asshole? Like, that's the best part. Like, I love the humor in that too. Or like, you know, towards the end when, fuck it, I'm gonna spoil this movie anyway. There's a scene at the end where basically our main character's got his new squeeze, Alba to be exact, and she's just telling him, you know, like, it's insane that you chose to kick it with me instead of going to heaven. And it's just funny. Like, I love that all around. It's such a wild and crazy, it's a wacky concept. It's a very wacky concept. You can tell it's not meant to be a film that's supposed to be taken seriously. I kind of feel like that is why this movie suffers, is I mean, I don't remember the marketing. I really couldn't tell you what they were going for with this, but after watching it numerous times all these years, Idle Hands is definitely a film that really isn't meant to be taken seriously. I think it's just a pot, stoner comedy. But even then, not so much, because the whole film isn't about getting high. I mean, there's a lot of those references. There's a scene where fucking basically Anton is like, all right, don't worry, baby, I'm coming to save you and save the day. And fucking this chick is tied up, about to be murdered by this fucking machine that the hand has complete control of. And she looks up to see that he is trying to get high, basically. It looks like he's going to be getting some stoned in his system. But I love that type of comedy, man. Like I said, it's not a complete stoner comedy, but it has a lot of that to throw at you. There are some side characters too that are fucking ridiculous. Like there's one, he's Anton's neighbor, right? He's clearly a guy that's no longer in high school, a little bit older, likes to creep on high school chicks from the looks of it. He is an interesting character all around too. I don't understand the point in his character. The actor is pretty interesting. If you've seen him before, he'll be pretty recognizable. Back in the day when I first saw this movie, he wasn't, but as time has gone on, I'd say that a lot of the actors in this film are people that you will recognize now. If not, you've seen them before somewhere. But yeah, it's a silly little comedy that is completely harmless. So I've been blatantly honest with you guys. This movie I firmly chose just because it's a nostalgia piece for me. That is why I love it. I mean, I love how the kill scenes in this are redeemed by the fact that the people that are killed usually come right back to life. I love that this hand has complete control. Like, I don't know how they did. I never looked into it. I'm assuming it's probably animatronics with how the hand is possessed like this and how it's constantly doing things. Like they utilize it very well, but I don't know if it was animatronic or not. Like, I know that there are times where it's used to the benefit of the scene. Like there's a specific scene where Anton works up the courage to go talk to his neighbor Molly, played by Alba. And essentially, he doesn't mean to go talk to her. He just kind of gets thrown into that position by his own hand. And so he's fighting it. He's trying to keep his hand behind him. He's acting antsy and weird. She's the, ridiculous skater punk girl that's interested in him, and he clearly has a crush on her. When they get to her bedroom and he's getting close to getting lucky, Hand decides to try to take over, and it starts like grabbing her hair, grabbing her hand, like grabbing her mouth, and he has to basically tie his own hand up, and she's like, "You are kinky," and like, it's so fucking stupid, but that's what makes it the best. And like, I love that they were very smart and creative with how they were going to use the hand. If I'm not mistaken, there's a scene where they try to fry the fucking hand too, and it goes to shit, but it's definitely a funny ass movie. Like I said, don't walk into this thinking that you're going to find like this movie's more on the level of like, Dude, Where's My Car? If you've seen that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a little bit like, you don't want to say that it's a good movie, but you also don't want to say that it's a bad movie, because it's not. It's insanely enjoyable. All right, so the negatives. What are the negatives to a movie that really is not good? A film about a boy whose right hand is possessed by the devil. For me, the story is fun, but it ultimately leads to nothing. It really leads to nothing. This is a very, very pointless movie, but that's why I enjoy it. It's a feel good. This, dude, do yourself a favor. If you're not a pothead, get some brews and watch this. If you don't drink and you don't smoke or whatever, and you just like to sit and watch films sober, watch this. It's funny. It's definitely worth watching. Well, again, that depends who you are. Aside from that, guys, I gotta say Idle Hands is a pretty fucking good... It's a good flick for its time. It's a good flick for what it's trying to do. I mean, again, it's a cult classic. It's not... Cult classics are kind of cult classics for a reason. They're usually not good movies, but you can appreciate them now. If anything, you should tune into this movie for the fucking music. The music in it is to die for. Now, on to rating it. What would I rate this? As you guys know, I have a new rating system. This one for me is going to be worth checking out for free on streaming. I would not go out of my way to buy this. I mean, I did. I love this movie, but we're checking out for free on streaming. Have you guys seen Idle Hands? What'd you think of it? Let me know in the comment section. And if there's ever a movie or a show that you want me to review, please, guys, let me know down below. Wherever your mom is listening, that's where we're at. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I will see y'all on the next one.